topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Dallas, Fort Worth. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This is the last Wednesday of the month at 4:25 Dallas, Fort Worth time, and that means it's Elite Care Clinic. Hey, I love doing this show, and somebody just wrote the show. They wanted to know if Dr. Gamboa was going to be on, and I said, of course, she's on with us the last Wednesday every month. Let's welcome Dr. Gamboa, Elite Care Clinic.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, Dr. Gamboa, you're getting like this fan club. We had someone wrote us from Terrell, Texas, who listens to your show. And she said, when is Dr. Gamboa is going to open her office? Because I would drive all the way from Terrell to her office. That was amazing.
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And then I'm really happy to hear that people are interested in their health, the prevention, and that's the main thing. I love whenever I hear that they are looking into like new things, and we don't want to be doing reactive medicine anymore. We are all tired about it. We want to do prevention. We have to do prevention so we are better and we age gracefully. We are independent whenever we're older, and we are healthy. That's the main thing.
So you've really gotten involved in functional medicine, correct?
Yeah, like wellness, more than functional medicine, all the bioidentical hormone replacement, weight loss, because if you think about it, everything is connected, everything is connected. And guess what? Stress, which we all have, and unfortunately, sometimes there's no way of getting rid of it. We just have to learn how to control it and how to relieve that stress, because the stress, what it does, increases our hormone cortisol. And the cortisol is basically like, yes, we need cortisol whenever we are in the fight or flight situation, but we don't need it all the time circulating at high levels in our body. We don't need it because it increases our risk for insulin resistance, obesity. And then on top of that, if you are a female in the perimenopause, your estrogen levels are lower or going higher, and that worsens the insulin resistance. So it's a combination of things that causes all this health problems.
What do you tell your clients when you know that stress is causing them to be overweight, anxiety? How do you get rid of stress, Dr. Gamboa?
That's a very difficult question, Steve, but we have to work with our patients and then also meet them where they are, because every situation is unique. A lot of the times you see a patient, but you don't know what's happening in their social area, like are they have like financial problems? Are they having like a family member that is sick and they're taking care of them? Or they're having a night shift. And they're working overnight. And that's also like, unfortunately, yes, they pay you more whenever you work night shifts, but that also is detrimental for your health. because you
Mm.
change your circadian cycle, your cortisol levels are off, like you don't sleep well, you sleep whenever your body in theory has to be awake. So all these kind of things take a toll on your body. And I try to tell them, number one, try to like see if we can like help them do a little bit exercise, some respiration like exercises. There's a nice app that it helps with box breathing. It's BOX, box, like a little box. And basically
Mhm.
you breathe in 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you exhale within 4 seconds, and then you hold it again for 4 seconds, like making a little box with your breathing. And that has been shown that it kind of lowers down the sympathetic part, the one that is like higher, and it helps you. And if you're like driving and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, like road rage or like getting like so worked up, go ahead and do that. That will help you tremendously, because that's what we need to do, some relaxation techniques, and then also like white noise at night, some like lavender, so things like that. There are also some supplements that I recommend them, like they're like natural supplements, such as it's called Relora. It comes from the magnolia, and this has been shown to decrease the levels of cortisol in a natural way. So that's also what we do. And sleep is so important. That is something that we definitely have to improve. Like, I mean, there's like, remember the myth of beauty sleep? So there, it's really what we
Ah,
need. If we don't sleep well, then we're in the morning, guess what's going to happen? Cortisol levels go up, hunger hormone goes up, and then also you are brain fog, because at night we didn't have enough time for all this mechanisms of cleaning, detoxifying, all this that we did in the day. And it's not enough time to like remove those toxins for our brain. And that's why also you feel that. So as you see, everything is related.
somebody just wrote in. Um, they heard about GP1, but they said they heard there's a GP2 on the skinny injection. Have you heard of that?
Not a GP, but do they mean about GLP-1 and then
I think that's
GIP
probably what they
probably?
mean.
So
Yes, I
like,
bet you.
yeah, the GLP-1 is the one that we all know about, like all this Ozempic for diabetics, the Wegovy for weight loss, and then the compounded semaglutide. That's the generic. And then the GIP, that's another peptide that also helps a lot with the insulin resistance. So the newer weight loss medication called Mounjaro for diabetics and Zepbound for weight loss, it's called tirzepatide, that's the generic name. That is a combination of these two. And that's a little bit more effective, you would say, because two is better than one, of course. And then that helps a little bit more with the weight loss. Um,
So the
Nowadays, there are
Manjaro,
different.
you,
Mhm.
you
Go
like
ahead.
the Manjaro.
I like Monjaro. I love like semaglutide. Like semaglutide has been in the market since 2017 as Ozempic, first initially for diabetics. What I like about Ozempic is there's all data that is coming out. It has the data that it can help you decrease the risk for strokes, for like heart attacks as a secondary prevention. It now like has the newest like indication for prevention of chronic kidney disease. So if you want to put that in a diabetic, is wonderful, because then you prevent them all these things that the diabetic can develop if we don't control the blood sugar. So that helps a lot with that. Monjaro is great. I really like that double peptide as well. And again, like every patient is going to respond different. Sometimes you cannot tolerate the Ozempic, and sometimes you may not tolerate the Monjaro. So it depends on how, like everyone is different. So we will have to see what works for you.
Some people do not want to admit when they're on the skinny injection. I don't care. I tell
I,
people
you
I'm
know,
on it.
I have to like tell also the patients, and I see what you're saying, and I see that a lot in my patients. Sometimes they feel embarrassed. They feel that
Yes.
they're cheating. But please, if you're
Yes.
listening to me, don't feel that way. It's not your fault that your metabolic um, uh, system, like there's a derangement in your metabolism, and there's a lot of metabolic dysfunction in your body. So like, don't feel that it's your fault that you have obesity. It's just the problem that there's insulin resistance. Sometimes you may have PCOS,
No, my
polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's in females, and that is what causes all this insulin resistance and everything.
you know, I I talked to my doctor about this, and I'm on Ozempic, and I got to tell everybody I have very little side effect. I've been on it for about a year. I've lost 35 pounds, and I got to tell you, my blood work is so much better. And
Oh
so,
yes.
of course, you want to lose weight, but my gosh, my blood work is better. And it is, I hate shots. I hate any kind of injection. And when they told me I had to do it, I give myself an injection. I freaked out, but you don't even feel it. I think we've, Doctor, can you hear us?
It's such a tiny needle, like Steve, it's like brush, like, or even smaller. I can hear you now. I was hearing you a
Okay,
little
good.
bit. I think Dallas here, even though I'm connected directly to the internet, I mean, it's very cloudy.
Okay. Well, we're doing fine. Someone also wrote that because they know we talk about that you do the uh, bioidentical hormone replacement. And can you explain that to the listeners?
Of course. So, like bioidentical hormone replacement, it's just like a term that says that the hormones that we're going to use to help you like bring those levels back to where it normally were, like it's like structurally the chemical structure of those hormones are identical to your own ones. So then your body doesn't see anything synthetic, like, so like your body just recognizes them as like their own. So they're like, okay, this is part of me. And all our systems in the hormones and many other systems in our body work with a uh, yeah, negative feedback. So that means that whenever like your levels are going down, for example, in perimenopause or in menopause, then it sends signal to our brain saying, "Hey, we need more production of estrogen. We need more." But there isn't. So then, whenever we give you like the bioidentical hormone, those levels go up. Those sensors get like, oh, the levels are better now. So like they're not giving you that feedback that they needed. And then all your symptoms get better. You feel much better, like your brain fog, the irritability, the hot flushes, all those horrible like symptoms that perimenopausal and like menopausal like female have, they are much improved. However, whenever you are in perimenopause, if you're still having periods, then we have to be very cautious with giving you estrogen. We can probably give you a tiny little bit of estrogen whenever you're in that transitional period, because if we give you too much, then we cause more problems. Because and that time, your estrogen is going up, down, is going everywhere. It's like the Texas like weather, Steve. One day is hot, one day is cold, another day we don't know what's going to happen. Right now it's raining, so that's how it is.
We just had Barbara from Grand Prairie. I love your show, Dr. Gamboa. I never miss one. Uh, I have been
Thank you,
diagnosed
Barbara.
with osteoporosis. Is there a supplement that I can take for that?
Well, once you have osteoporosis already, then the problem is that your bones are already weak. So what we need to do is to help them try to become like a little bit stronger again. So you definitely need like the calcium, at least 600 milligrams every day. You have to make sure that you take your vitamin D, as in David, and also you have to take a vitamin K2, because it has been shown that whenever you have the combination of vitamin D and K2, they help deposit the calcium that you intake directly to your bones. Because if you don't, and let's say you're only taking calcium, you're not taking enough vitamin D, you're not taking K2, the calcium is going to go and deposit on plaques of cholesterol in other organs. You don't want that. So you definitely want to help your calcium go and be directed into your bones. The other thing that you need to make sure to take is magnesium. That's an important part of mineral for your bones, So the other thing is to do some weight bearing exercises, and depending on if you discuss with your doctor, what you guys want to do, if you want to start taking the osteoporosis medication, then you can do that. Of course, there's some possible adverse effects. Also, what I have been seeing is that unfortunately the medications are not that great for osteoporosis. They don't work that fast either. They're very slow.
The prescription medicine?
What I've seen is that whenever you are on a bioidentical hormone replacement, that helps you the most. It's not immediate. You have to be on estrogen, testosterone, if you're able to. If you didn't have any other history that you have contraindications for that, then you can, and that will probably take couple of 1-2 years for you to see the results, but that would be the best thing for your body, because that's the lack of what caused you to be on osteoporosis to begin with.
Christy in Irving wants to know, Dr. Gamboa, what supplements do you take?
Well, Christy, I take a few. So I take an iodine supplement. I take a vitamin B12 supplement, because also, with the vitamins, you cannot have too much and you cannot have too little. You have to have optimal levels. I also take vitamin D and K2 because I am indoors most of the time. And by the time I get out, there's really no sun. And whenever I'm outside in the sun, I always wear sunscreen like all of us, or long sleeve to protect our skin. So always make sure that take that. So I do vitamin D, K2, iodine supplement. Then I do DIM. The DIM is a very potent antioxidant that comes from the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, from kale. And you take that, and that also helps with the metabolism of your hormones. So I take those.
What about, you're a doctor, you see sick people all day long. What do you take for your immune system? So
the vitamin D helps tremendously with your immune system, And then what I found also, whenever you travel, I'm not endorsing any of these brand names, but this is what I use. It's called Cofix. It's basically a little bit of iodine spray that you put it in your nose. So whenever you're going to go into big gatherings, you're going to be with a lot of people, you're going to be flying, you're going to be in the airports. I normally do that, one spray on each nostril, and that one helps tremendously to prevent, because all those germs and viruses, the first entrance is through the nose, and then that usually helps a lot. But make sure that you have vitamin D, zinc, and your vitamin C on a regular basis, and that also helps you tremendously. And probiotics. Don't forget your probiotics. That's what I take also, probiotics, because that has a lot to do with your microbiome. Microbiome helps with your immune system, digestion, even with the production of serotonin, the happy hormone. So probiotics are super important.
This is from Nikki in Fort Worth. She said, my father passed away due to heart condition. What can I take to keep from having heart problems in the future?
Well, I'm sorry to hear about your dad. So for you to prevent this, so make sure that you talk to your doctor about checking where your cholesterol levels are. with that history that you have, I don't know exactly what heart problems your dad had, but also make sure that your bad cholesterol is below 100 and your good cholesterol is higher for your protection. The other thing that you should do if you are older than at least 45, you should ask your doctor or discuss with your doctor about having a calcium scoring, because the calcium scoring, what is this? This is basically a CT scan with low radiation from the heart and the arteries of your heart, the coronaries. And what they check is for the deposits of calcium or plaques of the cholesterol in your coronaries. So if you have that already, then you have to be on cholesterol medication to prevent more problems later on. Also increase your consumption of foods rich on omega-3/6 like flaxseed, olive oil, and follow a Mediterranean diet. That's why it's good and decreases the risk of cardiovascular problems, because they are rich in omega-3/6. Olive oil, salmon, almonds, all these good things that they have a lot of contents of omega-3/6.
These questions we're getting, Dr. Gamboa, it's so nice.
I love them.
They're starting to realize holistic medicine, how important it is.
Yes, and I'm so happy that to be teaching you guys and to have them people be interested in their own health, because again, for the longest we were mostly on the reactive part. Oh, if I'm sick, I go to the doctor, but we are not in the prevention. But now we're more aware of that, and I'm really happy to help you with that, or to give you a little bit more information so you know what else you can do to prevent it.
This is from Kathy. I love this show.
Thank you, Kathy.
She said, I'm 63 years old. I'm starting to lose my hair. Is that a hormone problem?
Yes, but also that is a very interesting question, Kathy, because women, we all have that problem. So hair loss can be multifactorial. First of all, we have to make sure stress, unfortunately, that's another factor that causes this. So it's stress can cause increase on hair loss. Hormones for sure can cause hair loss. Your thyroid, whenever you have imbalances of your thyroid, can cause hair loss. Iron deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, low in protein, so they can cause hair loss. So I would recommend for you to go ahead, and if you're a stylist or you notice that you're having a little bit more hair loss than usual, go ahead and ask your doctor to get you checked for all these other possibilities, because we cannot just say, I'm just losing a hair, and it could be something more like iron deficiency, vitamin D, vitamin B12 deficiency, or you're not eating enough protein, so many things, or your thyroid. So ask them to check it and then see and go from there.
Your show goes by so fast.
I know, whenever we're having fun, time goes by so fast.
The people love you, especially women. Tell people, for those who are listening on radio right now or on iHeart, how do they reach your office?
My office is in Las Colinas, and you can reach by calling at 469-947-6020.
And your website?
My website is www.elitecare-clinic.com.
Dr. Gamboa, we are so blessed to have you. I love having you on.
Thank you, Steve. I'm
blessed.
It
goes by so fast. You'll be back again with this next month live, and we're going to be replaying your show next week. Thanks, Dr. Gamboa.
Thank you. Take care, and thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Dr. Gamboa. Hey, we'll be back again with you. God, I sound like a disc jockey. Hey, we'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Thank you, Rebel.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.